Hi, I'm Effie from bakingwitheffie.com, and today we're going to be making a really interesting cool cake. We're going to be making a Coca Cola cake. Now I know that sounds absolutely weird, but what we're going to do is we're going to make a Coke flavored cake, and then we'll stuff that into a chocolate molded Coke bottle. It's going to be quite interesting, and I hope you stick around to watch the entire process. So again, I've got my two helpers here. Say hello. Don't be shy, say hello. Hello. Okay, so we're going to get started right away, and I'll just give you a quick rundown of the ingredients before we get started. Okay, so we've got 2 cups of flour, which is 280 grams of flour. I've got 115 grams of butter, and then we have 400 grams of granulated white sugar. We've got half a cup of vegetable oil, which is more or less 120 ml of vegetable oil. I've got 120 ml of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk where you are, please refer to our earlier videos on how to make your very own buttermilk. I've got half a cup of Coca Cola, which is regular Coca Cola. I've got 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I've got half a teaspoon of salt. We have 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, which is 21 grams. I've got 2 eggs, and we will be using 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence today. So we're just going to get started. Okay, so we're going to be starting with this bottle of Coca-Cola. We're going to look for where the label actually joins together, and I'm just going to gently peel that back. Just be quite gentle with the steps. Thank you. Be careful. Okay, so you need to set the label aside because you're going to use it later. Set that aside there. Okay, and back to the bottle. Now we're going to use the X-Acto knife. You have to be quite careful. What we want to do is to make an incision in the bottle. Okay. Now what I've done is to make a rectangular incision on the actual bottle. Okay, right, so just be careful because it's quite sharp, and we'll just this is what you're looking for, and we'll just set, you can throw that away. Right, so I'm going to be starting with 200 grams of chocolate. If I need more, I'll have to melt some more, because what we want to do is to have 3 coatings of chocolate on our Coke bottle. So I'm just going to pop this in here. So making sure your bowl doesn't touch the bottom of the hot water. I'm just going to melt this down. You just have to patiently wait for the chocolate to get melted. Okay, so we have our melted chocolate here. So what I will proceed to do is to pour some of this, and then what you want to do is just to, I've got a bit of Coke there, just to manipulate it and make sure it properly coats every section of the bottle. So what I'm trying to do here is to make sure the entire bottle is coated, and this is coated. So this needs to go into the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes, just till it freezes solid, and then you need to repeat the process again, where you're putting another coating of chocolate and making sure it goes into the entire bottle, and then you leave that to set again for 15 minutes. So while this is chilling in the fridge, we'll start with our Coca-Cola flavored cake. Please preheat your oven to 180 degrees, gas mat 4. Okay, so we're going to get started on the cake right away. We're going to melt down our Coca-Cola. Now what you're aiming for is you don't want it to boil over. What you want is for all of the ingredients to melt off, and we're going to add in our butter here, and we're going to add in our vegetable oil. Okay, and the cocoa powder is going in as well into this mix. So once it's melted down, we'll turn it off the heat, and then we'll leave it aside to cool down for a bit before we go on to the next step. Okay, so we're going to mix in our dry ingredients together, which comprises of our flour. I'm just going to put everything right here into the mixing bowl. Sugar is going in as well, and our baking soda, and we've got the salt as well. We'll just give this all a dry mix and set it aside. Okay, so second wet ingredients, I'm going to crack in my 2 eggs into this cup. Okay, so into my 2 eggs, I'm going to add our buttermilk. Okay, and we need to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, so we'll give this all a quick mix and go on to the next step. Right, so that mixed in, we now need to combine all of these ingredients together. Okay, so it's mixing time. What I'm going to do now is to add my cola mixture. I'm going to add this in 2 batches and on low speed mix that in. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I mix it in because the bottom sometimes will have some flour. Okay, so I'm going to add in our egg mixture in 2 batches again, and we'll just mix that in until everything is well mixed and thoroughly combined. Okay, now this looks very golden brown. Just going to make sure I scrape it out and we'll take it off the mix. Okay, so I've lightly dusted my baking pan with a little bit of cocoa powder, and I'm just going to pour this on here. Right, so this is ready to go right into the oven. We're going to bake this at 30 to 35 minutes at 180 degrees. Once it goes past the 28 to 30 minute mark, you just need to make sure you hang around your oven, and once a knife inserted through comes out clean, then your cake is ready. Right, so it's time for the second coating. So I'm just going to drizzle on some chocolate again. It's basically the same process where you manipulate it and make sure it gets to all corners, all around. Repeat this process one more time. Okay, so second coating in, just make sure you try as much as you can to ensure the chocolate covers all of your sides and corners in the bottle. And we're going to put this in the freezer for another 20 minutes. So cake is ready. It's pretty hot right now, so what we need to do is leave it in the pan to cool for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll take out the parchment paper and then take the cake to the freezer because we need it frozen solid before we get to our next step. Okay, so this bottle has been chilling for, I'd say, close to 30 minutes. Now I'm just going to coat inside of the bottle with some buttercream. Now try to make sure you get it through all the nooks and crannies. Just gonna reach as far back as I can. Okay, so I made a regular buttercream earlier, which I'm just gonna coat. Just coat each. I've cut the cake in rectangle sizes, so I'm just going to now shove it in as far as you can. And you just basically do the rest. Okay, so I've got all the cake stuffed in here with some buttercream. Now I'm just going to use some chocolate, some melted chocolate to more or less seal this gaping hole we have here. So I'm just going to put on some and then just make sure you smoothen it all the way, because what you want it to do is more or less blend with the outer part of your bottle. Okay, so we've managed to get that hole covered. Now this is going back into the freezer for another 20 to 30 minutes until it freezes itself solid. So see you in a bit. Right, so this is frozen solid. Now this part we need to be quite careful. So what we're going to do is just, now the chocolate has sort of frozen and lifted itself away. No. Okay, so what happens is the bottle, the plastic in the bottle would more or less freeze to the point where it starts to lift off or separate from the chocolate. So what you want to do is to very gently insert your knife and just cut through the plastic without putting too much pressure on your chocolate. So I'm just going to take this all the way around. Okay, so we're almost there. Now what you want to do is to make sure you work very quickly. Plastic is all gone, so I'm just going to use a little bit of chocolate on the back just to make sure we have it sealed through. This cake was not easy. When I say not easy, it's quite time intensifying, where it has to go between your kitchen and your fridge, but it is so gratifying. Look at that. That is our original Coke, and that is our chocolate ghetto cake. So we're gonna cut this open, but I've got guests, so I'm actually gonna share this with them. This is a beautiful cake to share as we tap into the Coke theme, share that feeling. So we'll be back in a sec. This is so amazing. I almost didn't want to cut into this gorgeous cake, but you can see on the inside you've got your buttercream, you've got your Coke flavored cake, and it's just such a cute cake. I hope you try this out, and you know, it's just got that balance between your milk chocolate, you've got your buttercream, and then your Coke cake just hits you. I'm just gonna have a quick taste. People, I hope you guys are going to try this cake. So please try this cake out. It is so gratifying to have your own Coke cake. Okay, so for me, it's get baking and do have a wonderful weekend.